Welcome to Live DAF, your online DAF Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's DAF, KIDDUSHIN Ayin Hey. We are holding at Tanu Rabbanon, which is on Ayin Dalad Amud Beis, 5 lines from the bottom of the Amud. Tanu Rabbanon, we have learned in a brisa. Ben Teisha Shonam V'yem Echad. You have a fellow who is 9 years old, which makes him ro'oi for physical interaction with a woman, and he can affect her status if he is of deficient stock. For instance, Ger, he's a convert, but he's an Ammoni from the nation of Ammon, who may not interact with Klal Yisrael in terms of marriage. Umoy Avi, or he comes from Moav, Mitzri, Va'adaimi, right? Kusi, from the group of Kutim, which are problematic people. Venos, and he's from the Nesinin, who may not marry into our community. Chalal, he was born from apostle kahuna marriage. Umamzer, so all these, any one of these fellows, Shaba'u, who interacted physically ala Kohenes, or Va'al Halaviyah, or Va'al Bas Yisrael Pesaluha, they make them apostle in terms of their ability to marry a Kohen, or to eat Teruma. So this interaction had a detrimental effect on the Isha. That's Shitas Tanakama. Comes Rabbi Yossi, and he says like this: you must follow the following rule. Rabbi Yossi Pasul, an individual whose children are pasul for marrying a kohen, right? So that's the sort of the litmus test. If your child is pasul, then pasul, your interaction with a woman has the same effect on her and makes her pasul. But if that's not the case, this man's child is not disqualified from marrying a kohen. Likewise, if he, the father, would interact with a woman, it doesn't affect her status regarding kahuna. So it's a package deal. Wife and child go together. Child's no good, the wife becomes pasul, and vice versa. That's what you see. Rabbi Shimon Gamliel Omer, he picks a different formula. Kol shatanoy say bitay. Talking to a kohen now. You, Mr. Kohen, if you are allowed to marry this fellow's daughter, likewise you can marry his widow, because it doesn't affect her status vis-a-vis marrying a Kohen. So it's daughter and wife that go together, so to speak, in one package. But if in a case, if this is a case where you can't theoretically marry this fellow's daughter, she's not kosher for a Kohen, likewise his wife has the same status. We have Tanakama, Rabbi Yossi, and Rabban Shimon Gamliel. Ma'ikabei Tanakama ubein Rabbi Yossi. What would be the difference between Tanakama's approach and Rabbi Yossi's approach regarding individuals who can disqualify an Isha from Kahuna? Rabbi Yechanan, Mitzri, Shein Ika Benayu. Suppose you have a second generation, Ger from Mitzrayim. So we know that first generation and second generation cannot marry into the community. But Mitzri Shlishi, third generation, is a full-fledged Yisrael. So now we have a Mitzri Sheni, a second generation Mitzri. That will be the difference between Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi. Ika Benayu. According to Tanakama, if he interacts with an Isha, he makes her apostle for Kahuna because he's not allowed to be Ba'al L'Kohol. Whereas Rabbi Yossi says it's all about what his kid is. If his soul is so paramount that his kid is also Asr Lovay B'Kol, then the father's interaction with the Isha affects her status regarding Kahuna. But a Mitzri Sheni, whose child would be a Mitzri Shlishi, which is a Yisrael Ma'alya, Rashi calls him, full-fledged Yisrael. So if child's okay, then wife is okay. Ushneim loylam dua, ella mikoyin gadol ba'amon. And both Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi based their formula on the precedent of the Kohen Gadol interacting with an almana, which the Torah describes as an act of chilul. It affects the couple's kid. It affects her status. It's machalal the child, machalal the isha, which basically means she becomes pasul from marrying a kohen. So that's sort of the precedent to this concept that a psul can disqualify his wife? The Tanakama suffers. Tanakama goes with the following system. Ki kohen gadol ba'almana. Every situation has to be comparable to a kohen gadol who affects an almana. How? Ma kohen gadol ba'almana should be asa ba'aveira, just like a kohen gadol whose bia with the almana is an aveira. U'poisel ban, therefore he disqualifies her from further marrying a kohen. Af koil should be asa ba'aveira poisel. Likewise, any situation which carries similar value, it's a bia ba'aveira, she's pasul. Even a mitzvah sheni, he may not do this, so he makes her pasul. Rabbi Yehuda he takes it a bit differently. Again, it's based on the precedent, kohen gadol ba'almana, which is the prime example of a pasul, person disqualifying his wife. So we say ki kohen gadol ba'almana. All situations have to be comparable, have to match to a kohen gadol ba'almana. Ma kohen gadol ba'almana shazarei pasul u'paisel, just like the kohen gadol who interacts with the almana. Who does it affect? His child as well. The child is a chalal u'paisel, and likewise he affects his wife. Af koil shazarei pasul u'paisel. Likewise, any similar situation where this fellow's child would be pasul as well. So his interaction with his wife makes her pasul too. So basically, child and wife go together, as opposed to our case. La fuki mitzri shein, second generation mitzri. Shein zari pasul, child is okay. Dam across the pasuk says, Bana mashiv vodu lehem do shalishi, yavalem mikal Hashem. Third generation is okay, and therefore, wife is unaffected as well. So nafkimne between Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi is confined to one case, mitzri sheni. Tanakama says, well, he's pasul, he shouldn't be marrying an isha, he makes her pasul. Rabbi Yossi says, only if it affects your child, does it affect your wife, but not a mitzri sheni. Rabban Shim Gamliel Omer, here's the third shita in the Brisa. Kol shatanoise bitoy, atanoise almanasa. If a kohen can marry this fellow's daughter, he can marry his almana. V'chol she'atanoise es bitoy, atanoise almanasa. But if daughter is off limits, likewise this fellow's widow, she's pasul to you. My ikka ben Rabbi Yossi, le Rabban Shim Gamliel. Now, this is strikingly similar to Rabbi Yossi's shita. Wife and daughter, wife and child on the same plane. It's a package deal. The psul of one's child is indicative of the fact that he affects others. He affects his child, he affects his wife. Isn't that exactly what Rabbi Yossi is telling us? So what's the difference between these two shittas? There is one case, Amar Ula, Ger Amayni Umayavi Ikebenayu. Imagine you have a ger from Amayni Moyav. Well, Yaveh B'Kal Hashem, right? They can't marry him. So he's pasul. His son is also a ger Amayni, right? And it goes on and on. But this Isser only applies to the male members of these nations. But Amaynis, female Amayni, or Amayavis, a female from Moyav, she's okay. So basically, this Amayni has a son, he's a problem. But if he has a daughter, she can join the nation. A Marian. So that's the nafkimina. What happens if an Amayni or Moyavi interacts with an Isha? Is she pasul for kahuna or not? Tanakama says yes. And Ramam Shimon, but Gamliel says no problem. Why? Ushneim loilam dua ela b'kohen gadol ba'almana. Once again, we base it on the prime example, kohen gadol with an almana. And that will be the reason for the machlokes between Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Shimon Gamliel. Rabbi Yossi savar ki kohen gadol ba'almana. We compare it to that case. Ma kohen gadol ba'almana shazarei pasul or pasul. Just like there, the kohen gadol ba'almana's child is pasul. He's a chalal, and by extension, he affects his wife as well. Av kol shazari pasul pasul. Likewise, Amayni, Amayavi, whose child is no good, is pasul. The Isha, who the father interacted with as married, becomes pasul as well. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Nasan, a Mamzer, Amayni, Amayavi, it's all the same story. V'Rabban Shim Gamliel holds differently. Once again, we compare it to the case of Kohen Gadol ba'almana. Ma kohen gadol ba'almana shekol zarei pasul, because they're all this couple's children are pasul, whether it's a boy or a girl, they're both halal. Av koil shekol zarei pasul. Likewise, elsewhere, if you want to compare it to kohen gadol ba'almana, Has to fit this criteria. That all his children are possible. Afilu nekevas, even his daughters. Lafuki ger amoini mayavi. The nekevas have ksheros lavevekol, as opposed to the amoini and the mayavi, whose daughters are okay. The Amar, as we learned, amoini, only the man is a problem. V'li amoinis, not the woman. Mayavi, v'li mayavis. Likewise, if it's not a comprehensive extension over to all his children, irrespective of gender, if his interaction won't affect his wife, and she's not possible to further marry a kohen. So in conclusion, we have three shittas in terms of who has the ability to affect an isha, to make her puzzle. Likuhuna, Tanakama, any puzzle. Rabbi Yossi says only one whose children are puzzle, as opposed to a mitzri sheni, doesn't have that. Rabbi Shimon says we deduct Amoini and Mayavi as well, because it's not Kol Zari puzzle, because his daughters are okay. Amar Rav Chisda, Hakol Moedim. All these Tanoim in the Braisa would agree in the following case: Ba'almanas Isa. You have a fellow who was a suffix, maybe he's a chalal, and now he had a wife. So this is the almana, a widow of the Isa, like a dough, a mix-up, basically full of uncertainties. So not only is he a suffix chalal, but that sort of uncertainty affects the status of his widow, of his wife. Hakol moedim ba'almanas Isa shepsulu l'kuna, she should not marry a kohen. All agree that is true. Now, how do we know? Let's analyze the three shittas. Man meikal b'hani tanai. Who's the most lenient of all these opinions? It was Rabbi Shimon ben Gamliel, right? He took the more lenient approach. He exempted more cases, right? Still, what does he tell us as to the formula to follow? He packages it like this: Kol she'atanoisei bitay, atanoisei almanasei. A fellow whose daughter is okay for a kohen, so his wife is okay too. But if his daughter cannot marry a kohen, likewise his wife, his almana, is also off limits to a kohen. Now when he said the second part, if you can't marry a daughter, don't marry his wife. What was he coming to cover, to exclude, and to make possible? What was he coming to add? We have one case to add. Our case of Almanas Isa. This suffix chalal, being that he's a suffix, you can't marry his daughter. A kohen can't marry a suffix chalala. So if you can't go to his daughter, you can't go to his wife. As opposed to which opinion? Lafuki madahadin tanoi. We have a different shita who allows it. Who says that, the man's uncertainties does not affect his wife, because it's already a step further. Lafuki medahani tanoi, as opposed to the following shittas. That's not Hayid, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseir. They both testified al almanas Isa. Our case, almana who married a suffix chalal, sheksheri l'kuna, she can marry a kohen. Why? My time, why? Have a sex fake. It's a double suffix. Because as Rashi says, her husband was a suffix chalal. Now, she's sort of, it's getting transferred to her, so to speak. So it's like another step away, a step removed. Was fake lakula. A double suffix always is concluded leniently. Was he a problem? Was he not? Now we have to deal with her as well. So it's sort of like another step away. And therefore she's okay, as opposed to Rabbi Shimon Gamliel, who apparently held, it's all one and the same equation. If he's possible, then he affected her. It's not like two separate issues. So whatever suffix he had extends over to her. It's called a single suffix, in which case she's possible. Interesting machlekes. Okay, let's go back to the Mishnah, which says like this: Vadon b'vadon muter. Rabbi Lezer holds that we have a mamzer vadai and a mamzeres vadois. He's certainly a mamzer. She's certainly a mamzeres. They can marry each other, no problem. But if there's a suffix on one side, he's a mamzer, she's a suffix mamzer, or the other way around, They can't marry each other because a Suffolk mamzer, you never know, he might be a kosher Jew, so you can't take the chance. Whereas the Tanakama held that as soon as there's some sort of uncertainty in terms of his mamzer status, maybe he's a mamzer, the pasuk allows him to marry a mamzeris. We had the psukim the other day. A Suffolk mamzer lost his yichus, and there's no problem with him marrying a vade mamzer. Okay, so that's the machlek. Tanakama says a Suffolk mamzer can marry a mamzer. Rabbi Lezer disagrees. Amar v'damarav alach Rabbi Lezer. That's how he paskin. A Suffolk mamzer is not treated like a vade mamzer. He doesn't know, so he can't take a chance marrying a mamzeris, just in case he's not a mamzer. So that's Rabbi Yehuda quoting Rav, his first Rebbe. Then he went to learn by Shmuel, and he quoted Rav. And Shmuel disagreed. Amarli, he responded to me, Shmuel did, Hillel Shaina. Hillel taught the Mishnah that we had, Asor Yechsim Olam Bavel. The following 10 types of groups of people came from Bavel. And the Mishnah lists all the different categories. Amongst them we have Vade Mamzer, and then we have Savak Mamzer, Shtuki, Asufi, and the Mishnah clearly says they can intermarry, no problem. Even a Safek can marry a Vade. Love is a no problem. But Amras Halach Rabbi Lezer, now you're going and telling me, no, we have to follow Rabbi Lezer, it doesn't allow it. So bottom line, Rav paskin like Rabbi Lezer, and Shmuel disagreed. Rav paskin that a Safek mamzer is not like a Vade mamzer. You never know, so you can't take a chance. You can't marry a mamzer. And Shmuel treats a Safek mamzer like a Vade mamzer, and can marry a mamzer. Now we have a stira, a contradiction within Rav and Shmuel, who seemed to have held different views elsewhere. V'rami de Rav, ad Rav. We're going to have a contradiction between Rav over here and Rav elsewhere. And likewise, V'rami de Shmuel, ad Shmuel. The Itman we have learned, Arusa she'ibra. We have an Isha who's engaged, who's an Isha's Ish, but merely engaged to a man. We discover her to be expecting. Who's the child from? Is he from the Arus, the fiancé, the chasna, or from elsewhere? If he's from the Arus, that's fine. Not a mamzer. If it's from elsewhere, then it's a Neshas Ish, who was Mezana, child's a mamzer. Which way is it? Rav Amar Havlad mamzer. Even though it's a suffix, we treat the child as a mamzer, and he can go marry a mamzeris. Even though it's a suffix, we treat him as a mamzer, which is direct contradiction to Rav and Awasuk, who says a suffix remains a suffix. Or Shmuel Amar Vlad Shtuki. Child is a Shtuki, you never know, is he from the Arus, is he from somebody else? So he's a suffix. He cannot marry a mamzeris. Rav Amar Vlad mamzer. According to Rav, child is labeled as a mamzer. Umutar b'mamzeris. Green light, can marry a mamzeris. Or Shmuel Amar Vlad Shtuki, no. It's questionable. V'asur b'mamzeris, he cannot marry a mamzeris, which is exactly the opposite of their opinions in our sugya. Eifach, we'll switch around the names over there and match it up in line with our sugya. Rav Amar Vlad Shtuki, child is suffix, can't marry a mamzeris. Shmuel says he could. Shmuel Amar Vlad mamzer. Well, if that's the case, Tarti Lamali, why do Rav and Shmuel have to sort of repeat their discussion once and again if it's all the same point? Lamali, tzricha, we need it. Each case highlights a different aspect. Di itmar baha. Had we only mentioned our story in our sugya, by the shtuki in our parak, who came from an unmarried woman, yes, I would say in this case, baha ka'amar Rav. Perhaps here Rav holds like Rabbi Lezer, he can't marry a mamzeris because there's always a chance that he's okay, the upstanding fellow, mishum deroiv ksherim esla, because the majority, the most likely option is that she interacted with a kosher. Most people out there are fine. So you have to take that into consideration, and the child cannot be deemed and labeled a mamzer. Aval hasam, but by the case of the arusa, where most options are mamzer generating options, right? Because she's a married woman. Aval hasam d'rei psulim etzla, anybody she interacted with is going to generate a mamzer. So most likely it's a mamzerus situation. D'rei psulim etzla. Ema moide l'shmuel, perhaps they'll agree to Shmuel. We treat him as a mamzer? No, answer is we don't. Because maybe He was born from the Arus, which is fine. Had we only discussed the case of the Arusa, perhaps there's reason to understand Rav's Shita, because the reason to attribute Rav's Svara to the fact that, we can blame it on the Arus. Fact is, she's engaged to him, and good chance that they interacted together and they generated this child. And therefore we don't treat him as a mamzer. But in the case of an unmarried woman, such as in our parak, a regular shtuki born from an unmarried woman, perhaps here he would agree to Shmuel that, let's treat him as a mamzer. No reason to believe that his father was kosher. Tzricha, that's why we mentioned both cases. In both situations, we have the same machlokes between Rav, who says a Safek mamzer cannot marry a mamzeres, and Shmuel disagrees. Anybody say another option to answer this contradiction? Don't switch around the names. So back to the question. In our Gemara, Rav says a shtuki can't marry a mamzeres. He's a Safek mamzer. Shmuel says he could. And then we go over to the Arusa She'ibra. Rav calls him a mamzer, which sounds like he can marry a mamzeres, despite the fact that he's only a Safek. No! My mamzer to come a Rav. When Rav said child is labeled a mamzer, not that he has a green light to marry a mamzeres. Lav mutar mamzeres? No, elo the osir b'as Yisrael. He has a red light. He doesn't know what he is. He can't marry a regular bas Yisrael on the chance that he's a mamzer. But not like he has a heta to marry a mamzeres. Shmuel Amar, Havlad Shtuki. And Shmuel responds by saying the blood is a Shtuki, which also basically means the same thing. He's restricted from marrying a Bas Yisrael, the Asr Bas Yisrael. So it's exactly what Rav said. There's no machlokes. Yochi Haina the Rav. Ella my Shtuki. So what does Shmuel mean when he says Shtuki? Shemeshat Kin Oisim Midin Kuhuna. In case his mother's fiancé was a Kohen, we don't certify him as a Kohen. The child cannot treat himself as a Kohen. That's all Shmuel was coming to add. He wasn't disputing Rav's halacha, just adding another aspect. Well, that's obvious. Pshita, of course he can't be treated as a kohen. Hashta medin Yisrael m'shat kinan lei. We don't even treat him like a regular Yisrael. We treat him like a Safek mamzer. We don't know where he comes from. Medin kunim ebayil, of course. Goes without saying that he's not going to be treated like a kohen. Right? You have no idea who his father is. Ela ma'ishtuki shemet shatkin oisim yichse av. What then did Shmuel mean? That he's locked out of his father's inheritance when his father dies. Well, of course, Pshita, Miyadin and Avo Manu, we don't even know who his father is. We have no idea. Was the Urus his father or not? Of course he can't have access to his property. Well, it's the toughest. Oh, it must be him that he grabbed. He took possession of his father's inheritance after his father passed away. And he's claiming that is his father. Shmuel says we expropriate the property because he has no right to claim as such. Here comes another pshat. What did Shmuel mean? My shtuki. What does he mean when he says shtuki? Beduki. And we check, we ask, we investigate the matter. If this Arusa will respond by saying, well, it was a kosher man. It was the Urus who generated this child. She's believed. And that's Shmuel's add-on to Rav. In the meantime, we don't know. But if we find out and she says, we believe her. She has ne'amanus. Kiman. Kiram Gamliel. Shmuel is siding with the Shita of Ram Gamliel that when there's a question as to the source of a child, a mother is believed. Really? Hamar Shmuel Chadazimna. Why discuss this again? Shmuel had already told us in a previous occasion. Though we follow Rabbi Gamliel in this regard, we find an issue who's expecting. But Amrlan, we ask her, where's this child from? He comes from this person and he's okay, he's a kosher. Rabbi Gamliel, Rabbi Eliezer, we believe her. Rabbi Yishoy, she's not believed. That's a discussion in Ksubis. And how do we paskin? How does Shmuel paskin? So Shmuel already told us elsewhere. Isha's ne'emenes. Why does Shmuel have to repeat this again? Tzricha, there's a point. Perhaps only in the case of a single woman who turns out to be expecting, most options for her are kosher. So over there we believe the Isha. But in our case of an Arusa, where other than the Arus, everybody out there is no good for her. Perhaps there you can't trust her. The Chiddush is Ritu. Okay, so bottom line. We had a Shaila regarding a Safek Mamzer. Is he allowed to marry a Mamzer or not? Rab says no. In line with Reb Lezer now Mishnah, Shmuel says yes. We seem to have a contradiction from a different sugya, and we reconciled through many, many different tirutzim. Tanya. Now, of course, this is all based on our Mishnah, which says, according to Rabbi Lezer, or Rabbi Eliezer, different shittas, and Gerasa, so he holds that a Safek Mamzer is not treated like a Vade Mamzer. Tanya, here comes a Bryce. V'chein, Rabbi Lezer adds another point, another stringency. Kusi lo yisa kusis. A fellow from the Kusin group who were brought over by Sancherev to live in Eretz Yisrael. They went through some sort of conversion, which was questionable. In fact, we're going to see Machlekes on Amid Beis, whether it was legitimate Geirus and they were considered Yisraelim, or it was sort of a forced Geirus. They were scared off by the lions that Hashem sent to threaten them. So it wasn't a real conversion. They were really considered Goyim. In any case, these problematic people should not marry into each other as well. Kusi lo yisa kusis. My time of why? What's wrong with that? Amar of Yosef. You know why? It doesn't look good. It creates a bad impression. It can create misunderstanding amongst the general Jewish population. Asuhu, the Chachamim regarded this couple, ki ger la'achar asar adoros. You know, a ger, strictly speaking, can marry a mamzer. That's how we paskin, right? Because he's not called Kal Hashem, he can marry a mamzer. But imagine a 10th generation ger. People totally forgot about the fact that he comes from a ger. He shouldn't marry a mamzer, even though he could marry a mamzer, but he shouldn't. The Sanya we learned in the price, a ger ad asura doiros muter mamzeros. A ger until 10 generations, yeah, marry a mamzeros, that's okay. Mekan ve'elach, but past that point, asur mamzeros, he shouldn't marry a mamzeros. Because, people sort of view him as a regular member of the community. What are you doing marrying a mamzeros? Some say it's not about numbers. Ad shishtakea shame avodas kacham mimenu. It's all about, until the his history, his kachavim roots are sort of forgotten. So once that happens, we treat him like a regular Yisrael. We don't let him marry a mamzer. So the Gemara seems to compare it to the case of the Kusis, since they're sort of blended in and they're not necessarily recognizable. They don't stand out. So we don't let them marry each other because they appear like regular Yisrael. 1 second, says the Gemara. Well, Abai responds, "Me dumb. How could you compare the two cases? Hassam ger yashin. There we're dealing with a ger from old, from way back. So he appears like a Yisrael. Mamzeres chadasha. Of course, you don't want to marrying a fresh mamzeres. It sends the wrong message. It appears like a Yisrael marrying a mamzeres. Amri, right? Amri bar Yisrael. Mamzeres. People will say, well, you have a regular Yisraeli marrying mamzeres. What's going on? So we don't allow it. But here by a kusi and a kusis, they're both in the same boat. Either they're both perceived as, regular members of the community, they're both not. Either way, it's okay. They're both in the same status. What's wrong? Amar, he came to explain Rav Lezer's shita. What's wrong with a kusi marrying a kusis? He says like this. It's a chain. Rabbi Elazar, who says this is Asur, Savalok Rabbi Shmuel. He follows Shitas Rabbi Shmuel. And Rabbi Shmuel follows Rabbi Shmuel Savalok Rabbi Kiva. So he explains. Rabbi Elazar Savalok Rabbi Shmuel, he's based on Rabbi Shmuel. The Amar Kusim Ger Arayasim. The Kusim are not considered legitimate Gerim. They became Gerim through the thread of the lions. So they're really good. Who married into the B'nai Yisrael and generated problems. Rabbi Shmuel Savalok Rabbi Kiva. Now Rabbi Shmuel is based on Rabbi Kiva, the Amar, who says, Ovid Kecham ve'Eved. If a guy or an Eved lives together with a Bas Yisrael, a Baal Bas Yisrael, which is an Isser Lav, right? And according to Rabbi Kiva, anytime there's a Lav interaction, what happens to the child? They have Lav Mamzer. So if the child's a Mamzer, that's a raya that child's really Yisrael, because the guy can't make a mamzer. Apparently he identifies with his mother, the Israelis. So amongst the Kutim we have all kinds of situations. We have some mamzerim there, because they interacted with the Bnei Yisrael. They just blended together with the community. So we have mamzerim roaming around. We have some kids that are not really mamzer, they're really goyim, because if they were born from a kusis, right, man kusi and woman kusi couple, the child is a full-fledged goy. As we said, they're not really gerim. So you have sort of a mix. In their communities, we have goyim, we have mamzerim. A mamzer cannot marry a goy, because he's really it, and he's not, right? And she's not. So that explains Rabbi Lezer's statement. A kusi should not marry a kusis. Asks the Gemara, really? But this math doesn't really add up. We're saying that Rabbi Lezer is based on Rabbi Shmuel, and Rabbi Shmuel based on Rabbi Kiva. Umi Savala Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Kiva. Really? Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Kiva doesn't. V'amar Rabbi Yechon. Mishum Rabbi Shmuel. He quotes Rabbi Shmuel. Menayin lo'evet kechavim. Ve'eved shabo al kehenes. Suppose a guy or an eved interacted as married with a kehenes from a Kayan family. V'ala Levia, v'ala Bas Yisrael. Shepa slua. They disqualify her from marrying a Kayan further. How do we know this experience has this effect? Shneamar, pasuk says, Ubas kayin kisi almana ugrusha v'zarein. So we have a kehenes who was married to Israel, and she left the marriage. She came back home. She can go back to the truma because her status was not really affected. Mishi yeshlei almanos v'gerushin. This only works when she was married to a regular, ordinary citizen, Israel, who can make an almana, can make a grusha. So that doesn't affect her status. Once he's out of the picture, she reverts back to her former status. She goes back home and she has a truma. There's no psul. As opposed to a case where she had an experience with a goy or an eved. He doesn't have the ability to marry, to divorce, right? These women are permanently affected and they're pus. This is Rabbi Shmuel speaking. Okay? So look at Rabbi Kiva. Now, if we assume that Rabbi Shmuel is in line with Rabbi Kiva, that when there is a Isser Lav interaction, the child is a mamzer, hashta mamzer havi. So imagine if a guy interacts with an Israelis or Kehenis. Child is a mamzer, right? Is there any need for the Torah to come and highlight the fact that she becomes tainted and affected with respect to marrying a Kain further down the road? Of course she's puzzled. This interaction is so severe that the child's a mamzer, of course it affects her status too. So it's clear that Rabbi Shmuel, who did not have this notion, does not follow Rabbi Kiva that a chayav lavin makes a mamzer. So it sort of undoes the basis of our structure before. Elo says the Gemara, let's modify one little thing. Rabbi Lezer said like Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Lezer is based on Rabbi Shmuel, the Amar Kusim Geir Arayisim. The Kusim are not legitimate. Instead of Rabbi Shmuel following Rabbi Kiva, it's Rabbi Lezer following Rabbi Kiva, the Amar, who says that the child is a mamzer. So that explains why the Kusim shouldn't be marrying each other. Who's the Kusi going to marry? I guess maybe he can marry a Ger. But he shouldn't marry another Kusi, because there's a mix between Amzerim and Goyim. Asks the Gemara, how could you say Rabbi Lezer follows Rabbi Kiva that Chayav v'Lavin generate Mamzerus? Rabbi Lezer tells us, even though there was this world machlokes between Beishamai and Sil regarding a tzaras erva. So we have an Isha whose husband passed away without children. There's a brother of that departed fellow who could do the Yibum. Now this departed fellow had two wives, an Isha and the co-wife, the Tzara. Now let's say the Isha is a relative, close relative of this surviving brother. She's a daughter of his. You can't do Yibum. Not only is she exempt from Yibum, but the Tzara, the co-wife as well, is affected by the first wife's status. It's called a Tzaras Erva. Tzaras Erva just walks. There's no Yibum, there's no Chalitz. That's according to Shitas Beis Hillel. Beishamai hold no. Tzaras Erva is a regular Yivama, she needs to do Yibum or Chalitz. So even though there was this really serious machlokes, Bitzaris, Moedim would all agree she'ein mamzer elomi she'hisura yisur erva v'anish chorus. So suppose somebody follows Beis Hillel and lets the tzaras erva walk without even more chalitza, even though that was not appropriate according to Beis Shammai because they require chalitza, but it's not the worst thing because ultimately it's only chayav lavin. So if she marries out, she was over a lav. loisiya eshes hamesa chutza liish zar. It's not like karis or Mrs. Bezin, and the child born from that union is not really a mamzer. So even Beis Shammai would agree that worst case, if somebody follows Beis Hillel, the child is not a mamzer. And this is who speaking? Rabbi Lezer. Child of a chayav elaven is not a mamzer. Apparently, he's not going like Rabbi Kiva, who holds that he is. So your formula doesn't work. Elo says the Gemara like this: Ki aser Ravin, Amar Rab Chia Ba'Abba, Amar Rab Yechon. Ba'Amar some say Amar Rab Abba Bar Zavda, Amar Rab Chanina. Ba'Amar some say Amar Rab Yaakov Bar Idi, Amar Rab Yishmael Levi. Let's try to explain what went on with the Kusim and explain why Rab Lezer blocks them out. Shalosh machlokes v'davar. Actually, we have a tradition that there were 3 machlokes, 3 shitas, 3 opinions regarding what happened, what transpired with the Kusim. And apparently, the pasuk described that there were kohanim that mixed in, that joined them and served them and helped them with their Rabbi Dazar. So there were 3 accounts of what happened. Rabbi Shmuel Savar, he holds like this: Kusim geri aray yasein. The Kusim are not legitimate geri. The kohanim shnittim b'hem, the kohanim that blended in there, kohanim psulim hayu, they were puzzle to begin with. Shenemar vayaslam mekzoisam b'kanim bamos. So, the Kusim there, they invited the Kohanim, the Kohanim to come and help them with their bamos, with their altars. V'amar Rabba, v'arachan, Amar Rabbi Yechon. This pasuk, by using the word miktsaysim to describe the Kohanim, is not necessarily a complimentary term. Minak koitzim sheba'am. They took the thorns amongst the nation. They took the psulim. And that explains why the Chachamim deemed them to be illegitimate and puzzle. They're goyim, they're mamzer, all kinds of things going on. Rabbi Kiva Savar Kusim Geri Emesein. Rabbi Kiva holds no, Kusim were legitimate gerim. The Kohanim shnittim b'hem, the Kohanim that joined them, Kohanim kshermoi, they were perfect Kohanim. Shenema vayaslam mekzoisam Kohanim bamos. So the Kohanim that joined were called mekzoisam. And what is that? Baba Rabba, Rabbi Chana, Rabbi Yechonon, Rabbi Chira Shabam, the best, the cream of the crop. So what's wrong? Ve'elam b'nei ma asrim. So why did the Chachamim block them out? They had a very interesting practice when it comes to evil. They held that an Isha who was merely engaged, right, and this fellow passes away without kids, so she needs to do Yivam, which is fine. But the problem is, on the flip side, they were upoitrim on a source. An Isha was already married to this man who passed away without kids. She's exempt from Yivam. My darsha, what was this convoluted, mistaken opinion based on? What was their source? Lucia Isha Samesa Chutza. So they learn like this, that the word hachutza is followed by a comma. We read it, the wife of the departed fellow should not go out, hachutza lizar, marry a stranger before she addresses her issues or yivam obligations. But they learned it differently. Hachutza, comma. So the one that's out, that's not yet in, that's as yet unmarried, she's just engaged. So when she runs into the yivam scenario, she should be careful not to marry the Yishzor, a stranger, rather she has Yivam. Hach the Yasva Chutza, the one that's still out of the family. He lo yisiya Yishzor, she cannot marry a stranger, rather she must do Yivam. Aval hach the Yasva Chutza, but somebody who's not Chutza, she's already in the family, she's already married. Even if her husband died without kids, Tia Yishzor, she can marry anybody she wants. Of course, this was a misconception, which creates problems. Why? Because it's a lav, what they're doing. To give a Ivama a green light to marry out. For Rabbi Kiva Tamein, this is Rabbi Kiva speaking, and he holds that. What happens when a lav happens? Child is a mamzer. The Amar Yesh mamzer, Mechayev Elaven. So basically the Kusim were filled with these mamzerim situations. That's the second opinion. We have a third opinion, which is Rabbi Lezer's opinion. The reason why we don't interact with the Kusim is they're not proficient with the ins and outs and details of the mitzvahs. How does that affect their familial yichus status? We'll see in a minute. So Man Yesh Aimrim. First of all, let's put a name to the face. Who's the Yesh Aimrim? Amar Rav Ida bar Avner Rabbi Lezer. This is Rabbi Lezer, who is found elsewhere to be saying the same thing. The Sanya matzahs kusi muteres. What about a matzah that a kusi bakes for you? It's okay. There's no problem with chametz. V'adam, not only that, v'adam yoytzei, ba yidei chavasa b'Pesach. A person allowed to eat it and do the mitzvah achilas matzah on the first night, which requires matzahs mitzvah shmura lishma. No problem. They know exactly how to do it. So kusi baked your matzah, go ahead and eat it, gesundheit. Rabbi Lezer Oyser, he says no. Not only can't you rely on it for the mitzvah, You shouldn't be touching it. It might be chametz. But they're not well versed in the intricacies of our mitzvahs. We have a third shita. Rabbi Shimon Leimer called mitzvah. You know, generally speaking, perhaps the kusam are not really so observant, but if you happen to know that there was a mitzvah that they sort of adopted, they're totally into it, 100%. Even they're more religious than us. They're all out. They're medactic in that mitzvah more than us. So bottom line is, according to Rabbi Lezer, kusam are unreliable due to their ignorance in the intricacies of the mitzvahs. Okay, so how does that pertain to marrying to the kusim? What's the proficiency required for marriage? They're not intimate with the they're not familiar with the halachis of kiddushin and gerushin. So basically, you never know what's going on with their marriages, with their divorces, and you can end up with many mamzerim, etc. So therefore, we keep away. That explains why Rabbi Lezer says the kusim shouldn't even be marrying each other, because you can have one mamzer and one not. So they're very, very limited in terms of their marriage abilities. Amar Rav Nachman, let's just finish the Mishnah. Amar Rav Nachman, Amar Rabbi Ravo, he gives another reason as to what's problematic by the kusim. Mamzer ma'achoisoi u'mamzer me'ishes achnes arubehen. We happen to know that there were certain specific cases where mamzerim got mixed into their communities. One time it was a mamzer from interaction with one sister, one from interaction with an ishes ach, brother's wife. Mike Mashman, what's the point of mentioning exactly the specifics of the mamzer situation? Just say a mamzer got involved. Why explain exactly a sister? So he's highlighting the fact that an interaction with an isha, which is a isur karas, like a sister or like a isha sach, that also generates a mamzer. That's why he sought to actually explain the, to describe the exact circumstances, because we want to bring out this point that even this type of thing creates a mamzer as opposed to other shitas which hold differently, that only interaction with a chayav Mrs. Bezin. So that was the point of Rav Nachman. If that was his point, why does he have to mention both cases, which is pretty much a duplicate? Nisnichad, just say, a mamzer from achoise. Why do you have to say achoise and oshesach? They're both krisis, both basically, stressing the same point. Ma'aseh shoyik achayot, so happens to be that there were two types of mamzerim, one from this, one from that got mixed into the community. That's why he's just mentioning it. For Rav gives another version as to what's wrong with the kusim. Similar chashash, eved v'shivcha nesa'ar behen. So it happens that an eved and a shivcha got mixed in there, and now, you don't know what's what. Asks the Gemara, Isura Mishum Mai. So what's the problem? What's the problem? Mishum Shivcha, because the child of a Shivcha likewise a Shivcha. Nisnichadas just mentioned a Shivcha. Why do you have to mention Shivcha and also Eved? Why is Eved important? Just say Shivcha. Master Shayik Achayot. So it happens to be that both happen. That's why he's mentioning it. But ultimately the concern is really the Shivcha and her children. So bottom line is, what's wrong with the Kutim? We have many opinions. Whether it's because they're not proficient with the halachas of Gittin the Gerushin, you end up with mamzerim there, or actual mamzerim got mixed in, or shivcha got mixed in. So that explains their problems. Let's just go back to the beginning of the DAF. We had the halacha that psulim interacted with women, they make a puzzle from marrying a kohen. According to Tanakama, all the psulei kol, like the mamzer, shtuki, asufi, etc., etc. According to Rabbi Yossi, you have to work with a formula as follows. A child is usher to marry a kohen, likewise wife is usher. So a fellow whose child can't marry a kohen, his psul extends to his wife as well. According to Shimon Gamliel, only if all his children, but if it's an Amoini whose daughter is okay with respect to marrying a Yisrael, so this Amoini's wife or Isha that he interacted with as married is also unaffected regarding marrying a kohen. Then we have this machlokes between Tanaim and our Mishnah, whether a Safek mamzer is treated like a Vade mamzer with respect to giving him a green light to marry a mamzer. We have machlokes Tanaim, and likewise Rav and Shmuel battled the same machlokes. Rav Paskin, the Rabbi Lezer, that you need a Vade mamzer, otherwise he shouldn't be marrying a mamzeres. According to Shmuel, even a Safek mamzer has that ability. And this was based on the psukim we learned the other day. All the best to you and Hatzlach Rabbah.